All right, I think we're live. What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and thank you for joining us for Ricardo Sturdivant's Tuesday Feels with special guest coming in on the show today. We've got Jason Leeser, and we're live in the Reinventing the Tattoo community. You guys can join us here every Tuesday, along with other community members talking about art, collecting clients, tech, and more. So we are beaming out to several different places. So if you guys are watching, just let us know that these streams are working. You can tag a friend who loves tattoos or let us know where you're beaming in from right there in the YouTube live chat. Of course, positive reviews are always welcome. All of these RIT network shows, art jams, drawing groups like this, interviews, panels, and webinars can be watched anytime, all the time at reinventing247.com. While you guys are there, you can hook yourself up with a sample bundle from top tier brands known for making quality products. We've got Shine cartridges, raw pigments, and D-Lives Pro. On top of today's drawing group, we have several weekly shows that you're welcome to tune into or even hop on the call with us. It's actually really easy and kind of fun to do. You guys can set up reminders for our upcoming events on our YouTube channel or catch us live on Sundays for our Reinventing Drawing Group Skills Sundays with Jason Leeser at 1 p.m. This is a great show to bring something that you're working on, or if you have questions about something, to get a straightforward, honest feedback and a judgment-free atmosphere. Monday evenings at 9, we have our evening canon classes for the new trimester with subscribers led by the legendary Guy Aitchison. This Reinventing trimester starts today with orientation coming up soon at 11 a.m. Eastern. You guys can head over to classrooms.reinventingthetattoo.com to find out more or to check out our new learning platform. You can find us right here on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with Ricardo and Wednesdays at noon for the Tattoo Now show. Of course, Thursdays you can find me hosting with Fawn Baker and Jordan Ruckus for the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. Aside from these digital meetups and events, we do have several upcoming real-world events that we're gearing up for. We're going to be beaming out for a World Tattoo Event segment at the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention on February 25th to 27th. You guys can catch most of us at Hull City in Columbus, Ohio on May 20th to 22nd. We'll be at the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational with Tony Urbanic as well at the end of July, and Hull City and Phoenix on August 26th to 27th. Before we kick things off with Ricardo, let's shout out to our sponsors for helping us provide this content to you guys for free. As I mentioned before, we've got World Tattoo Events. You can find them at worldtattooevents.com, the largest, most comprehensive, and updated resource for tattoo events worldwide. Also, thank you to rawpigments.co, an ink company that is tapping into the raw pigments with acrylic-free inks that have been impressing all sorts of artists across the globe. Thank you to Tattoo Now, providing technology for tattooers for decades, and the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. You guys can find his Biomech Encyclopedia, DVDs, machines, paintings, and more at his website, guyaitchison.com. Also want to shout out to some of our affiliates for helping us and working with us all the time. Jake at Fireside Tattoo Network, Amy at the Apprenticeship Diaries, and eco-friendly tattoo-supplies.com. Like I said, throughout this show, we welcome positive comments and reviews on these channels and would love for you guys to follow us. To join in the live stream, you're going to go to reinventingthetattoo.com, scroll down just a little bit to our calendar, and then you can click the event that you would like to join. In the event description, you'll see a Zoom link. If you click that, check your audio and video, and you're in. If you guys are interested in hosting an RIT event or to sponsor our community, just send us over an email at management@reinventingthetattoo.com. Now, I'm going to be in the background reading off comments. I'll have my browser open to share references or inspirations, anything like that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and kick it on over to the guys.
Good morning, Lauren. And thank you for the introduction.
Hey guys,
Jason,
good to see you.
How are you, man?
Hello.
Jason
Hello.
and I met in person for the first time. It was glorious. I wish it would have been more time. Both of us were kind of off in other directions doing stuff. Jason, you were seriously a king, rolling through and doing all that cool stuff. I wish we could have hung out a little bit more, but great job.
Yeah, if it was up to me, I would have set up about 3 other cameras to get it from like really every angle.
Sure.
But I mean, that's just me like going way over the top like I usually try to do. I was thinking like, okay, if we can position one camera so that as Bob's leaned over tattooing and he's talking, what if we had a camera like facing up so that it was actually like looking at his face as he was tattooing, right? Like mid tattoo, you're down looking at the design, but then you have this camera like facing up at you the whole time as you're working. Like I don't know. I just thought
that's pretty clever. I think the whole seminar setting is. I think if you get in there and you tackle it, like there were some good angles that you were getting super tight on the skin. So I could only imagine if you had like a few more cameras to work with. It was, yeah, I should have gave you mine actually.
I was going to say recording, like you have to know something about the way that people tattoo in order to get the right shots, right? If you're going to film a seminar, if you're going to go through, shoot a tutorial or talk about technique and you want to be able to demonstrate that, you need to know where your hand's going to be placed. How big is the design? Where is it going? Because as that design rolls, you're going to reach the horizon point of your vision on that surface because human bodies are not perfectly flat, which means there's going to come a point in time where if that design rolls at all, you're not going to be able to see some of it. That means you need to have something set up where you can see the other angle. Otherwise, it makes no sense because we won't be able to see what you're doing in the rest of it.
Yeah, that's a good point because Fawn had a really nice, what would you say, like a boom arm type situation coming straight down. And you were moving around, finding, at some points, probably really awkwardly, finding that perfect spot. But you had to watch it. And it was my legs, so that was so cool to see how you were setting it up, you know, from my perspective. And Bob was super keen to listen to what you had to say. I was really enjoying that. He was asking you for advice, like, "Hey, should I do this?" or "What do you think I should do this?"
I didn't exactly think I was qualified to give Bob Tyrell advice. I mean,
well, it was
he only has like
dynamic.
An extra 2 decades on me as far as experience goes.
But he was literally asking you like you guys had been friends for years, which, I mean, I don't know how long you've known him, but I felt like you guys had a really good
I met him
chemistry.
that Saturday.
Oh gosh, it was cool. He really was respectable and
super down to earth, super respectful, just a great guy.
Yeah.
You know, I remember talking to him about his legs and his leg tattoos that he got done by Tom Renshaw. And I was just, the passion with which he was still talking about the craft and art of tattooing after being in it for so long was just, it was incredible. You know, I know guys that have been tattooing for 10 years and they're already like feeling burnt out about it. And they're like, whatever, sit down, I'll do it. Like, whatever, you know, they just look at it as a job. And then Bob's still there, passionate as anything about it.
Guy spoke on the Tattoo Weekly yesterday for about like 20 minutes or whatever, kind of towards the end of the show. And that's what he was talking about, or like being in touch with things to not become senile and loving it. He's like, I love what I do. I love tattooing more than ever. And it was kind of interesting to hear his mindset. So if you guys have the time, check that video out towards the end. I like why he says he still has that passion and what he does to maintain that.
Yeah, I would love to.
Because he's been tattooing for like 30 years or something.
Yeah, Ricardo, I think you're right. About 30. Maybe 33 if I'm not mistaken.
Halfway there.
It might have been. I think you might be right because I know it was in October or sometime. He mentioned it in one of the Monday night classes or something. But my memory is going, so I can't remember exactly the number. Yeah.
Now I do remember Guy mentioning something during last Monday's drawing group about, or last Monday's class in the evening about possibly getting Bob down to hyperspace to record him down there.
You guys would have everything set up, I'm sure. Really
I'd have like 8 little cameras going. I'd have Ricardo set up with like 4 of them. I'd have another 4. There literally would never be an angle that was not captured.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
So what is the booking process? Even though we're all like, we know Guy pretty well, we talk to him all the time. So what is the booking process to get in with Guy? I'm just curious for anyone watching or for honestly like myself too.
I send a raven.
Okay.
That usually works pretty well.
A raven, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Remember to think about the condors.
You write down your request on like a little roll of paper and like, you summon a raven and then you just put it in like the little ankle thing, make sure it's closed nice and tight. And then you send the raven off and Guy will eventually receive the raven with your message.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's great advice.
And then he'll say, I received your raven. And you're like,
he'll show up and start pecking at the glass on Hyperspace Studios. Like
exactly.
Your words like, alas, you have responded. Hark. I hear thee.
Right?
Things like
Oh,
that. Yeah,
Ricardo.
it's true.
Does it work
it's
for like
true.
that for you too?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I send either condors. I send a condor because like they're pretty popular down there. You know what I mean? So they're pretty
Which is way more
dominant down
efficient, by the way.
there. Yeah, the condor can pack a little bit more than just like a little satchel. You know what I mean? You can send a whole like box and stuff with them. Pretty cool.
The Route of the Raven.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. No, I think it's pretty easy. You just kind of like send them an email and stuff like that, and wait for
Okay.
them to reply to you. That's
Right
pretty
on.
much it. Yeah, he keeps it pretty simple.
I mean, that's how I got in. Was
Yeah,
through
that's
email.
what I'll probably do that too, because that's kind of those. Once I got tattooed by Bob on my leg, I realized like I would be way cooler if my legs were tattooed like all of you guys. Right?
Oh, dang.
I got to see a
Yeah,
little bit.
heck yeah.
I got to see all of Jason, almost all.
There were a couple that you didn't get on camera that, don't
We
need to
don't-
be shown. So
Okay.
We
But
won't
yeah,
worry
that
about
was
those.
that was cool. Honestly, if we did that for a guy too, it'd be super cool.
oh my God, that would be amazing.
Something that we should talk about doing actually.
You know what? That was one of the coolest parts about being down there with you too, Jason, was whenever you guys started the tattoo and you asked him if it's okay if you record, and he goes, okay, is it going to be for documentation or just your own like interest, your documentation? It's like, okay, cool. So let's try to set up like this then. You're like, if you put the camera behind me and you set it over my shoulder, you might be able to get a better view. Remember that? It was pretty cool. But you were also using your phone to record a lot of it too. Jason, even then, Lauren, when Jason was getting tattooed, he was still doing a whole lot of setup and handling videos and then talking to the Reinventing the drawing group or Reinventing the tattoo crew, all the people, stuff like that. So it was pretty neat.
Lauren,
Yeah.
I believe the video is still spotlighted on you, by the way.
Okay. I think that's just for you guys, just so you know.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching the YouTube chat, and Bruno, if you're still watching, what's up from all of us? Thanks for joining.
What up?
Bruno, we miss you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So last night I couldn't sleep, and I was just kind of laying there on my couch, and I started thumbing through some of the Reinventing, all the information, all the videos and stuff out there, and I realized that one of the first times that Jason, myself, and Bruno were all on the same Zoom call for the very first time was actually on February 14th last year.
Oh, that is so
Valentine's
sweet.
Day. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you guys have a 1-year anniversary right now.
We had a 1-year anniversary yesterday. Yep, it was pretty crazy.
Summon the
like, oh
candor.
my gosh. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was pretty crazy. It was just it was nuts because we all were. Jason, I think you'd been doing the shows for a little while already.
Yep.
And Gabe was
Since
on there with
December.
you, and then and then I jumped on there, and it was pretty interesting to see that, man. It was pretty cool. It was fun. But yeah, it's wild.
What do you think the biggest learning experience, like what was one of your biggest goals that you achieved last year, if you could reflect on the spot a little bit?
Opening up.
I didn't die.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually.
That is a really good one. You did cross the street and you didn't get hit by a car, so that's also good, right? Yeah, that's good.
Go ahead, Ricardo.
No, I was just gonna say mine was definitely like just opening up, communicating more, learning more about my own process, being able to even like have a conversation about technique and stuff like that, or just approaching my art and things, of that nature. And it helped out a lot. It helped out tremendously just hanging out with you a few times even, you know what I mean? So that was pretty incredible. So that was definitely one of my goals for sure.
Mine was to get outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly.
I realized I was getting stagnant, and that's because I didn't venture out too much. By the way, everyone, this is my housemate Jake in the background. Hello.
What's up, dude?
I've known Jake for like 10 years, and I'm trying to drag him out of his shell and get him to become more social within the tattoo community. But he's very, very shy.
Perfect.
And, I figured when I got the link for today's session, I was like, maybe if I set up in the kitchen, he'll be forced to be on camera.
Indeed. There it is. What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
What's going on? How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We were just talking about stuff like this with what Jason was mentioning about you is that you're shy. You don't have a whole lot of presence in the tattoo community because of it, and that's one of the things that we've talked about quite a bit on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, dude. It's hard.
I know. No, I'm definitely down to start jumping on some Zooms with you guys and getting involved with this is Reinventing, right?
Yeah. Think about it like this, man. A year ago, Ricardo was literally living under a rock.
Yeah.
Like it was a big boulder, it had like a little outhouse, but like he was literally living under a rock.
It was mostly cardboard with rock underneath the cardboard. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to talk you up a little bit and give you a little bit of an update here, okay?
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
But yeah, I've been trying to push him to, get out there a little bit more, experience a little bit more of the tattoo community and what it has to offer. And, he's coming around slowly but surely. I think the brainwashing technique I'm using is finally starting to work.
It's pretty effective, Jason. I've seen your skills.
A little bit of LSD and some repetitive movies. You'd be really surprised what you can achieve.
Oh man, there's a documentary on the Clockwork Orange that I'm dying to dive into on HBO. I can't wait to check that one out. But it just reminded me of that scene at the end where he's got his eyes all peeled open and stuff,
I'm pretty sure that whole scene in the Clockwork Orange was actually modeled off of the United States Central Intelligence Agency MK Ultra program.
The MK Ultra, yep. I'd heard about that.
Which was all about like mind control and brainwashing and stuff like that.
Using LSD, right?
Yeah, using LSD to help reprogram the mind.
Yeah. Well, they're planning on using LSD as a weapon. I think they're trying to weaponize it, and then they're talking about putting it inside of the enemy's like water system. You know what I mean? So that's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is all supposedly, guys. So don't go saying, just in case it's some of the one people are listening. Those people are listening.
Have you guys ever I guess it's not necessarily the platform to ask, but like explored your creative side, maybe under the influence of something like that, and just seeing the difference? It's pretty remarkable. I could see why they would probably want to weaponize something like that because it's out of this world.
I can neither confirm nor deny anything.
Gotcha.
I will say yes. No, definitely. I've definitely had my moments with a lot of those things, but the unfortunate part for me is that like realizing that the later on in life that the reason I was doing it was to party with it, and like instead of fucking using it to what it can be explored with, is just as like opening up doors for yourself that about things that because there's a lot of like there's a lot of investigation now and like a lot of practices going back to the 60s and the 50s. Where they shut the door down on the psychological implements of it, like what we're talking about, but in a beneficial way. You know what I mean? There's a lot of proof now showing that microdosing with mushrooms is something that's being beneficial and helping PTSD. A lot of like people that are coming back from the war or people that suffer from PTSD due to traumatic events in our lives. You know what I mean? It's helping people with depression. It's even linked to the possibility of helping cure things like Alzheimer's and things like that too. You know what I mean? So it's a pretty incredible thing. And I think that the stigma that comes along with it is one of the deterring factors of it, and it's kind of an unfortunate thing where the presence of like so-called news can like help destroy something that could be somewhat beneficial. And hopefully it's not due to the fact that it's like from some big pharma company trying to keep that from happening, or just the stigma and implementing some kind of like monetary gain out of the illegal issue with it, versus legal issues and stuff like that. But I don't know. Was that a rant or what? Because that's what I think. I think it could be beneficial.
I do have a friend who's been who has been microdosing, every now and then. And it was really incredible to see the transformation that they went through and how it affected them mentally to help them become a stronger human being and get over some past traumas. So I can definitely see that. I think one of the things that people often forget is that back in the 60s, when a lot of this stuff got banned, people were not microdosing. People were taking full doses, double doses, triple doses, quadruples. Like they were out there
there's no
to
information.
use the maximum amount, right? They weren't worried about the therapeutic effects at the time. They were out there trying to see the next galaxy, right? Nowadays, what we find is that with these microdoses, a small fraction of 1% of a true effective full dose is actually extremely beneficial. That's where the term microdose came in. It's a microscopic dose. Because of that, we start to notice an entire new scope of benefits, right? Before you had things like peyote, LSD, mushrooms, all different types of hallucinogens that were used in different types of ayahuasca. These were used in religious ceremonies around the world, right? Maybe not LSD because that was only invented, in the past 150 years. So, but definitely mushrooms, peyote, different ayahuasca, different types of toads are known to give off certain toxins. But you see these being used in religious communities throughout the world because it helps open your spiritual mind, right? So people were using that to help treat any type of a spiritual ailment, right? Someone lost their direction in life. They're going through and they want to commune with loved ones in the past. People are looking to achieve another level of enlightenment, that they wouldn't be able to get to otherwise. And that's how it was originally intended, using a full dose. Now, because we're breaking it down even further and we're using much, much smaller doses, we're starting to realize that there actually is an everyday benefit to taking this stuff.
Right, and I think that's the thing that was being done in the 50s and the early 60s and stuff like that. I can't remember what college it was, but this is when they started exploring the benefits of it and being a psychological treatment. You know what I mean? And it's true. Like even myself, most recently, like we oh man, how do we say it? Okay, so we encounter these times in our life where an old train of thought becomes the only way to navigate through the circumstances that you're dealing with at the moment, right? Sometimes that old train of thought doesn't bode well for our growth. It doesn't do anything except for keep us in the same spot physically and mentally and things like that. You know what I mean? So like sometimes you need something to kind of snap you out of that idea that this isn't the right way to think anymore. You can't fall back on these old reliable things or traits and behaviors and patterns that don't do anything to benefit you. And so what that implementation of that drug does to you, or that mushroom does to you, is like it helps you kind of navigate through transitioning away from that old train of thought, in the right way. And that's why I was saying earlier that I wish when I was doing it that I wasn't partaking it in the way that you were describing, Jason, which is like, let's party. You know what I mean? Let's fucking see how far we can go. And I think we all explore that venue. Like Hunter S. Thompson talks about that razor's edge. You know what I mean? Where he says that there's this line that you can cross, and not everybody comes back. And it's absolutely true. You know what I mean? It's a very finite, thin line, and you have to be able to see it and recognize it to be able to come back across and know what you know now. And it's the same thing with like mushrooms. And if you can do it in a safe environment, I know in Colorado, there's a lot of places that they're implementing this for the public. You know what I mean? Like you can go in with the idea of volunteering yourself for like, therapy, like psychology or, therapists and stuff like that. So like they'll implement it into your growth, and I think it's awesome. And it's also a good way to kind of think about the fact that like there's some things that you might feel aren't right or legal, but or whatever it is that we're being told that about this mushroom that is bad. You know what I mean? I think it's good, and it's another beneficial thing from it is that it helps you open up these doors, these closed doors, you know, to a different idea, to a different term, to a different way of thinking, a different way of seeing it. And it's important. And I wonder if that's part of the reason that it's still classified as such a, you know, a dangerous drug and stuff like that, is because what happens when a larger group of people are actually more awake and in tuned with yourself, that helps you realize that we're all more connected than what we realize we are, you know? Like what happens when a big group of people are able to think along a beneficial path like that, instead of fighting each other over all these little opinions and facts and so-called facts and things like that, you know? Go ahead.
Okay, so I have to play devil's advocate here. Not that I don't completely and totally agree with what you're saying,
No, I
but
like it. Go for
I
it.
always like to play different sides of an argument in my mind, you know,
Yeah.
and try to present an alternative perspective. You know,
Mhm.
I completely agree with you. Like, what does happen if we all start thinking along a bigger, more beneficial path?
Mhm.
But then I pose the question to you, what happens if we, you know, a large majority and a large group of people start to choose to take it down a much more negative path, right? Say we have 1,000 people out in the desert that, you know, are decide that they all want to take a 3-day peyote trip, right?
Mhm.
And what they end up doing is, you know, finding a clip, and 1,000 people decide that they're going to go into the next realm and decide to jump off of this cliff.
That's pretty extreme, but I can agree. I see where you're going with it.
You know what I'm saying? So it does have the potential to be extremely beneficial, but when you're weighing that against the potential loss of life or the potential negative harm that can come from it, take, for example, students all over the country back when LSD was very prominent. There were students in high-rise dormitories across the country that after they would take acid thought that they could fly. So they would jump out of windows, they would jump off of rooftops because they truly believed they could fly. People would believe they had super strength, so they would stand in front of trains and try to stop the train or cars. You know, and when you have this happen on such a mass scale all over the country, you start to realize that there are some negative reactions to it, even though it might be positive for that person's mental health. If they're dead because they thought they could stop a train, how does it benefit them?
Yeah, see, the first thing I'll do is I agree with you, because there are, like, you know, positive and negatives to every scenario, right? But it's also determined, the positive negative scenario is determined by the person that's the one judging the moment. So, and I will say that I agree with you, but also when it comes to terms like, you know, college students jumping out of windows and things like that, I always refer to where's the source material coming from, because I know that there was a lot of propaganda that was going on out there that was like so anti-drug that they were making these videos of just all these absurd notions of things that these drugs would do to you, and it's not true. You know,
First-hand
first of all,
account.
like, yeah, first-hand account. Okay, well then that's the case, and I trust your opinion even more. You know what I mean? And I value your opinion even more. So like, the one thing I will say though
Jason
about
traveled
it is that,
there
like,
on his last trip, and it's his own first-hand account.
he like had
Actually,
a
it was
cape on and everything. It had a giant J.
it was a story my father told me when he was a student down at the University of Houston.
Wow.
There were a number of kids when he was enrolled there, and I believe that was in the early to mid 70s, University of Houston. But there were a number of students that actually ended up jumping off of buildings. There was apparently a bad batch of LSD going around.
Yeah, the
and,
LSD is no joke. Yeah.
and these people thought that they could legitimately fly, and they have quads that are, 12 stories tall. So we're not talking about a short, like 2 or 3 story drop. We're talking 12 or 13 stories of free fall before smack into concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool. It's not cool at all, man.
So
Not cool. Yeah, and in no way, shape, or form am I advocating for people here to listen to this and then go try that by any means. You know what I mean? I'll definitely say investigate things, investigate what it is that you might find interesting, and go follow your own little path, man.
as much as I am an advocate for using different types of substances to expand your mind, I'm also a firm believer that that should only be a jump start, right? To get you to the point where you can sit back and you can have these kinds of, outside creative thoughts that can really just help expand you and look at the world in a bigger, broader, more beneficial sense, right?
Right.
And I believe that's the ultimate goal of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a goal for overall life. You mean, or just like with the performance of mushrooms?
More or less the goal of overall life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Looking,
Yeah, I agree.
and there are a lot of people out there that cannot comprehend how their life and their decisions impact other people, right?
Yeah.
Or impact the community as a whole. There's always bad apples out there, but what if, having people that are trying to improve their mental state and really gain a bigger conscious concept of the community, whichever community or whatever community we're discussing in and of itself. But what if they want to gain that kind of an insight, but they don't have the ability, right? That's where I think it can be extremely beneficial, because it does allow you to think outside of your own thought pattern, as you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're
that's
talking about navigating your palace,
Bingo.
it's kind of like that, where you're going to be walking down the hallway to get to your office rather than taking the stairs to get to. That's kind of how it is. It gives you a whole new layout for the palace of your mind, where you can navigate places you've never been before.
Correct.
We've got a special guest. Let me let her in. And before we end, we will need to wrap up, I think, in about 25 minutes. Jason, maybe you could touch on this as well, on orientation coming up, and Ricardo as well.
Hey, good morning, Medusa.
Medusa!
Hey!
What up, homie?
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
No, we can hear you.
Oh, geez.
Hello.
Hi. The app platform still has the whole live session hasn't started thing yet, so I had to go through the website.
Yeah, we're changing up. Jason can talk on it. We are changing up the way that we present this stuff. So I think, in future reference, if you go to reinventingthetattoo.com and scroll down, there's a calendar right there, and then you can click that to see. But the app, I think, is going to be a little bit different moving forward.
Good to know, because I signed up for the Reinventing the Tattoo Evolution.
Oh, cool.
Thing.
Sweet.
So I got to make sure that works in the next.
Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit? Because we're closing in on 20 minutes before it gets kicked off.
Perfect. Jason, go ahead, man. Guide us through this.
Okay, so from the hand that I've had in this, Reinventing the Tattoo it's a course of learning, right? For lack of a better term. A lot of decisions have been made on the back end to go through and restructure it so that we're condensing things down into these trimesters. So as if you think of a trimester, it's 4 months worth of study, maybe a little break, and then another 4 months, and then another break, so that we can get 3 trimesters in every year, so that people that want to go through and learn this stuff, with almost guided instruction as they're going through and trying to pick it up, can do so in a timely manner. It makes it a bit more affordable. It makes it a bit more easy to process and easy to digest, because every week we're going to be covering a new section, a new topic, we'll have a new drawing challenge. So it's really going to help guide you through and really help establish a more, what's the word I'm looking for? More structured way to learn. Lauren, you're muted.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was going to say almost digestible. Originally, when I started with Reinventing the Tattoo, I'd of course known about the book, but there wasn't a direct place to start, and especially not with other artists. So I thought that was really unique. The way that Guy explained it yesterday was awesome. There's a video on YouTube that we clipped out to explain how you can work together and really identify your goals. And he said by the end of the 48 weeks, you will be a better tattooer and you'll know what your goals are, which is something that not a lot of artists necessarily pay attention to specifically. So I thought that was really cool.
That is cool. It's one of the things that we've all talked about. I think a lot of us that get on these like chats and stuff like that in these Zoom calls is that I think we're all there for a reason. You know what I mean? There's something else that we're wanting. There's something else that we're missing. There's something else that we're trying to explore and stuff like that. So I think that would definitely help direct that in a more linear path, right?
Correct.
And see a little bit more results and stuff like that because of it. So that's awesome. But let's talk about like the functionality of it. Like how do we get on there? What do we do in the next 30 minutes to sign in to the class and stuff like that and like to listen to the orientation? Your dog is so awesome, Melissa, by the way.
So
That's
I agree.
high.
That
Aw.
lip is so fucking awesome. Look at her tongue.
All right, so if you guys can see this, I just navigated myself over to classrooms.reinventingthetattoo.com. So this is, like they say, a guided group exercises, which is a good way to put working with a lot of other artists and getting a lot of feedback and building relationships with people you may not have ever met. Aside from all of the on-demand and webinars that's included in there, the podcasts and stuff, you would go to this classrooms.reinventingthetattoo.com to sign up. And I do believe the sign-ups are closed now. As of yesterday was the last day to enroll. But if you do enroll, you can catch up and then actually start the second trimester. Because then you'll want to catch up with all the content that they covered in the first 14 weeks.
It's on what's called in higher education a carousel program.
Sure.
So whenever you enroll for the next upcoming launch date, right? So it's a continuous enrollment. You can sign up any point in time of the year. But as far as the actual curriculum goes and the walkthrough, there will be certain launch points that will take you through each individual section, and then it's going to stop and restart back to the beginning to take you through all of those sections again for the next part. It's a way to go through and do it so that way everyone that signs up isn't going to be missing out on anything. You know, that's going to have that hands-on guided instruction that a lot of people really crave. You know, it's like I said, it's being used a lot in higher education. A lot of colleges and universities are developing this kind of an enrollment system. And that's because it's really beneficial to the students. You know, so anyone that's coming in, trying to learn, trying to really absorb the information to the best of their ability, you know, instead of just saying, okay, what are we covering this week? It's, okay, I know that this is going to be the linear path that this follows. I know I'm going to start at A, then go to B, then go to C, then go to D, instead of starting at, you know, G, and then going to H, I, J, and then eventually circling back to A. You know, it just makes a little bit more linear sense, and it's going to make it a lot more mentally digestible.
Well, I think that's a great way to say it too, Jason. It's like, you know, as many of us as artists here, I don't know about you guys, I hated school. I hated school. Couldn't stand it, and I would never go back again. But this is like a big interest for all of us. We're all here for one goal, and the goal is to become better artists, become inspired and things like that. You know what I mean? So to have it structured this way is just going to make it that much more beneficial for all of us, you know? So it's great. Fantastic.
I was wondering, first, are any of you guys doing it?
I am.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yep.
I will
am.
be probably
there.
just in the back end. I will be involved, but I'm not sure how much I will be doing the content.
I tried to get my boss and my coworker yesterday to join in, but both of them are budgeting hard after everything. We got an upcoming convention to budget for too.
What convention would that be?
Seven Feathers.
Seven Feathers. Interesting.
I don't really know all the details on it yet because I've been flying around in the back of the shop doing other things and not paying attention. I wrote down my goals for the, as per usual, I wrote down my goals on a paper plate for the class.
I love it. Even more.
Because I keep forgetting my notebooks at home or in random places. I lose them. I lose notebooks a lot. And scrap pieces of paper, I also lose a lot. So I thought, hey, a paper plate, you can both write on it and it's an awkward shape. And like, if I find this in my backpack, I'm not going to just toss it away like a random receipt. I'm going to look at it and be like, what the hell is a paper plate doing in my backpack? So I decided to start taking my notes on paper plates because I can't lose this as easily. I mean, this is weird. It sticks out.
So you heard it here first, people. If you want to keep your notes, get awkward shaped note keeping material like paper plates.
Paper
Or
plates.
just buy a whole lot of notebooks and keep them in the exact same place. That's what I did.
That's
bought,
just
like,
too much thinking.
I bought like
That's just too
an
much.
8-pack of these. I keep one in my backpack for travel. I keep one in my backpack for daily use. I keep one next to my computer. I keep one on my kitchen countertop, which is this one. I keep one. I always have one with me anywhere I go. I keep one in my car just in case I need one in my car. They're strategically placed, but they never leave that spot.
That was a good idea because I went to go grab mine that I usually keep on the shelf right here, but for some reason it's not there at all. I don't understand what happened. It's like it's home. I know it's supposed to be there, but it must have taken a vacation or something like that. I don't know.
See, that's exactly my problem. The same thing going on for me. But this paper plate, I haven't lost this yet. It's been like a whole 14 hours and I'm still here.
But yeah, we should probably wrap up, you guys, here in a couple minutes. My phone is ringing with the information for orientation. So, Medusa, I don't think I've actually met you in person yet, so it's fantastic to see you. I've heard about you. I've seen you in the chat, so cool.
Oh no, sorry. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's I love meeting new people, so thanks for hopping on. And it wasn't too hard for you to just join the Zoom or anything like that today? Besides the app part?
I DM'd Kyle, who let me know that the calendar is where to go through, but the app I'm still figuring out. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's sweet. Anything else you guys want to say? Kind of let us know where to find you before we cash out for today.
Go on ahead.
Medusa, how can we find you?
medusaslays.com or at medusaslays with 3 S's at the end on Instagram.
Yeah. And Jason?
So you can find me at Philly Inc. on Instagram. And if anyone out there that's watching is going to be at the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention, Lauren and I will both be there. I already have a bottle of tequila picked out for us.
Oh,
it's going to be an absolute blast. It's going to be one hell of a time. I can't wait.
All right. And Ricardo, do you want to sign us off today?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. My name is Ricardo Sturdivant. Should I put the camera off a little bit different? Let's see here. Can you guys see me? Is it too close?
Yeah. We can see pretty much all of you.
All right, sweet. My name is Ricardo Sturdivant. You can find me at Candor Tattoo on Instagram and here on the Reinventing the Tattoo app, Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead and reach out to us. Let us know what's going on. It was fun to have Jason on here, and Medusa, it's good to see you. Lauren, thank you very much. And as always, I couldn't have done it without you. So it's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you guys on this new trimester app.
All right, yeah, we'll see you in just a little bit. And any other questions, you guys can send an email to management@reinventingthetattoo.com. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.